Hello and welcome back to Factorio. We're picking it right where I left off, right exactly where I left off, because I realized I can pick up some information here. The assembly machine 2s make orbital science at 0.25 per second, unbeaconed. If we go back to Nauvis, we can find a iron smelter somewhere, and this produces 0.62 per second. So 0.62 per second and 0.25 per second. Two of these guys would be 1.25-ish. And 1.25 divided by 0.25 is 5. So 2 electric furnaces to 5 science machines. Sounds about right. So first thing is I do need to build some solar panels. Let's bring this down to here. So solar panels. Solar panels require 3 components, so 2 belts of input, and it is a lot of green chips and a little bit of copper and steel producing a little bit of output. And what I'm thinking is green chips on this line, copper and steel there, output there. Real simple. I'm going to do them in groups of 2 because I'm not feeling that energetic right now. These are solar panels. So the near guy is the green chips. Far guy is the other 2. And together we produce 9 per minute. Well, that's nowhere near enough. Snap to grid. Okay. If I make that many of them, that gets us 81 per minute. That sounds like a more useful number. So we'll go with that. I will let the robots build. We didn't make provision for lights, but I can put them in. Let's go ahead and do that. You are always on. Resnap, put the light in, and there we go. And I'm going to put one last light in there. Fancy boxes. We're stocking solar panels. Now, if I were building solar power locally, I would have already built a bunch of solar panels and a bunch of accumulators. Since I'm just using this onboard ship where there is no day-night cycle, all I need is the solar panels. Don't really need the accumulators. If I'm flying to some place where I'm not going to have a lot of power from solar, it's going to be for a very, very, very long time, and the accumulators might not be able to last that long. So accumulators on board a platform doesn't sound like a really great idea to me. I could be wrong. I mean, maybe Maybe somebody will set me right. I'll build 2,000 of these, why not? Maybe somebody will set me right and tell me that, yes, there's a reason to have accumulators on board ship. This is green chips. Now, the problem is we want green chips. We also need steel and copper. So that's steel and copper and green chips. I think I can come up here like this. And then above here, I can put a thingy in that says, please send my green chips to the right. That might have to be up there a ways. And this might also have to jump up a bit. So these guys, I need a something like this. Okay, if I put it like this and bring it over one more. Then I don't need that flipper. There's steel going in there. There's copper going in there. That's steel and copper. Good. Iron comes through there. And where did that iron come from? I do not know why I suddenly have iron on my blue belt. I do need to find out if that is something that's going to keep happening. Blue, 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 blue. We got blue coming in here. Well, potentially I had iron flipping onto it there. I think we're good. So that iron may have gotten on that belt from long, long ago. I just didn't notice it. We're fine. Let's bring it all up to this point. So we brought the green up to here. We can't bring it up and down like normal. So we have eaten into our fluid area a little bit. That's all right. So solar should now be making. I wonder if I overbooked anything. In terms of red belts, Okay, so we're bringing in a belt of green chips. And half a belt of those. We're good. Now, I'm counting on the fact that none of these little areas that I'm putting together are going to be in a 100% duty cycle. So one or another of them will be firing off for a while, and then they'll go quiescent as they fill up stock. So I'm not really adding up all the stocks yet. When we start building science, that's when we're going to have something that's going to be churning all the time for day after day. The solar panels are coming down here and being put in place and are being sent up to our rocket. Oh, something about this. When you alt-right click and it puts it there, if you go off screen, okay, it will retain a pointer. Here, it says spaceport that way. So you don't want to have a lot of those. Also, they all stack up here even if they're on other planets. Orbital. So here's the basic layout. We got 5 of these guys, so this is 1.25 a second. And these guys, which are unprogrammed. And I can't really put something in them quite yet. I'm going to take all of this, I'm going to put it up here out of the way so that I can start peeling this back. So what I want to do is I want to ring my entire platform with these asteroid collectors at a sufficient distance that we have space to work with. And then I want to put these guys in somewhere convenient. So the inside of this belt is going to have asteroid chunks. What I want to do is I want to put my my goodies on the outside. So I think I'm going to do is actually set these up here. So I do like that. We can bring it in from here. If we put it out, it's going to put it out on the wrong place. We can put these guys out like that. Okay. If I turn this, that might be better. Okay, now these guys can output like this. And that frees up that space. So these are non-overlapping. So there's another dodge you can do if you want a really compact thing, is you can just have everything, you know, all your grabbers can toss things into your hub. You can take it out of the hub to crush it and put it back. You can take it out of the hub to smelt it and put it back. Take it out of the hub to make science and put it back. That all would work. Okay. So let's say this is our... actually, let's move this. I'm going to put this on the left-hand side here. Now, is this centered? This is centered if I put it like this, roughly. So what I want to do also is have this come in vertically. Notice I'm kind of building this inward from an outside rim that I'm going to have to size. I put the smelters in. And these 5 have to all take input from somewhere and put output to somewhere. Oh, they need to take input from the peripheral belt. Right. And if they need to take input from the periphery and put output over to here, maybe putting it like this is a good idea. Okay, so if I do that, then we have something like this. Well, let's put some power in here so I don't get quite so much complaints. So this guy needs to be conditioned. Enable if the amount of science in the hub is less than 1,000, so we don't completely overfill it. And filter science like that. I like the idea of connecting these up individually. I think I am going to put my smelter outputs back on the outside of the belt. Okay. Okay, so there's our stuff that works with the belt. So I do know that this guy needs to have this kind of a setup. This is going to be putting out iron plate. And these are going to be taking in iron ore. Very important to filter this. They might take in some iron plate, turn out steel, and then where would we be, right? Notice I don't have to do anything with power. The space platform itself gives us power. Now I could move this guy over here. Give myself a little room over here. Now these inserters that put out onto the bus need to be contingent upon how much stuff is on the bus. It's going to be on the whole bus. But I do want it to be a common thing, so I'm not going to hook them all individually to the bus. We're going to do that. I think I can line up these guys right here. I have to move the power. That's not a big thing. Okay, and actually we want to put these one over to the left so that our output goes back onto the bus that way. Okay. Metallic asteroid is you, and you are carbon. These are just really to confirm what's going on, and well, in the case of the outputs, this is so it doesn't put the asteroid itself on the outside of the belt. There we go. And you are outputting ice. And as usual, the outputs are set up like that. Okay. We want this to be square. We're going to want that, and we're going to want... Well, we know where this edge is. Put this here. So I'm going to put up a little... I'm going to give some little bit of extra space. Okay, and this guy can go as far out to the left as we need to for the purposes of power. But if I put this guy here, that does get symmetry around the corner. So my first instinct here is to, well, let's see. Apparently, we are just launching rockets like gangbusters from Nauvis. That's really great. The greens get connected around the corner. And I'm actually going to connect them to the corners like that. Just to kind of tidy it up. We will move this left bit as far to the left as we need to in order to support more solar panels. If we move this up by one, I can put those panels in there. And if we move it left by one, that keeps our pattern. There we go. I can't move this down by one because these need to connect here. But I can move to the left by one. Okay, boom, boom. I'm hoping that'll be enough. Now, if I want to make this line up here, I could do it here, but I'm going to do it one to the left because there's also a space here. Okay, we got that. Now I am going to do something really nutso. I'm going to pick up the whole thing with Control X. And then I'm going to deconstruct all of this back into cargo. I'm going to put the whole thing back down again. Oh, it did the wrong thing. I was hoping that it wouldn't put down all of the unnecessary stuff. I wanted to eliminate all of this. Guess I gotta do it by hand. Okay, we can't put holes in the platform, but I can certainly make the edges just do that. What are we missing? We're missing a couple of bits of logic here. First of all, we're missing the green signals that say what I want to bring onto the bus. Then we're missing the red signals I've added to these inserters that are putting things onto the outside lane, which control what we can and cannot put out there. So for the red stuff, that's easy. I just grab any one of them that's convenient. They're all right here. And I'm going to bring you down to here and set this up to read build contents, hold all belts. So that will give us the contents of everything. And we're going to want some logic for controlling these. I'm going to put that logic down here. And that's going to start with some comparators, some decider combinators. One for each kind of asteroid. And there's another combinator I'm going to put in, constant combinator, which is going to be how many of each thing we want. And this guy will be programmed for N. I'm going to guess that we can put 50 of each thing on the belt. So first off, N gets included here. So these guys can now see things like if plate is less than N, like that. So we enable if we have less than N plates. And what I'm going to do is do a blueprint, and I'm going to parameterize plate. Don't know why it's got this. Okay, this is iron ore and carbon and ice. So these are now set to filter and enable only if less than N. We don't have an N yet because it hasn't brought those up. It has those coming up, right? Yep, on the way, 50. There we go. Now these guys also need the red stuff. like that. So they need access to N and to the contents of the belt. And this guy is going to say if the number of metallic asteroid chunks is less than N, then output metallic asteroid chunk. So the output of this is going to be our filters for our pickup guys. And again, I'm going to put this in a blueprint, and I'm going to parameterize this guy. And this is going to be carbonic asteroids and oxide asteroids. And these guys, this is our fabulous little green thingy, which connects back here, and suddenly all of our pickers are picking, almost all of them. There. And if I've done everything right, that should crank right up. Oh, almost. These guys have a 20% chance of outputting their input up above, about every 10 seconds or so, if they're kept busy. And I want to just make sure that when they output, it goes back here. It should be always safe to do this because we just picked up one and we're going to put it out here. With all of this set up the way it is, we'll have 200 things on the outside of the belt and 150 things on the inside of the belt, plus or minus. And we can watch our belt population here. I'm going to accelerate time a bit. And you can see the belt fluctuating as we get more or less stuff on it. Notice this is a little high here. It shouldn't be that high. Hold on. This guy didn't get set over here. Okay. So now if I keep watching this, the number of iron plates should go back down to 50-ish. It'll be 50 plus 1 or 2 inserter loads. 2 inserter loads in case of the iron plate, 1 in case of the other things. And what we can see is that we are using the oxide chunks as fast as they're coming in. How are we doing for ice? We do have enough ice, though. Now, the other thing I noticed is that my little lamps from the bottleneck detector don't light up on the platforms. I don't have any lights here. I don't understand why. I think it's Control-Shift-L? No. In any case, we're starting to build up science here. And in order to make use of that science, we need to bring it down. So I need to add a group here. I'm going to create a new logistic group, which is going to be called White Science Import. And this is going to be, please bring me 200 white science. I'm going to set trash unrequested, which will tell the robots to take away anything I haven't requested. And we will need to arrange for this to take our white science out. Now, we actually will have a couple of different things for white science. For science, we have 2 guys for science. One of them is our white science, which we know we're going to be getting white science out. And the other one will be whichever science would go to get first, which may be metallurgic from Vulcanus. It might be agricultural from Gleba, although I doubt that. Or it might be electromagnetic science from Fulgora. So whichever one of those we get will go on the other side of that belt. My standard is to have the belts have one side and the other side two separate kinds of science. I am seeing that I neglected to put in the underpasses for this guy. And I neglected to pick up these pipes. So with that done, what's our next big thing? I could leave some space for some more mall type stuff out here. That's not a bad idea. And it's really, we're going to have to start building our science up. I'm going to take all the way out to this area over on the left here. And I think I wiped out my radar. Let's see. Your radar. Oh, your radar's out of the way. Good. And let's go ahead and do site prep. How am I doing for storage? Not too bad. And all of this is reserved for rocket fuel, but I don't need that, so we're going to do that. I think I want to put all of my wood in one place. So now we can take care of that. That's the wood. I'm going to put the stone over here. How about copper ore in this column? Iron ore, that is. And copper ore. These are all just holding temporarily until I figure out what to do with them. Copper and iron. Some stone. I think that stone won't fit. There. Let's move that stuff along and see what it looks like when we're done. Actually, the easy way to do that is just to move all of it along. There you go. Everything's sorted, and apparently there was some extra copper which didn't get put into proper place. And we're going to put this stuff back here. So everything where I've got multiple boxes is down in some assigned storage. So I can think about how to recycle that into the factory. The rest of this is just miscellaneous junk, which I don't need to worry too much about. I do need to get this moved around. Okay, so science. How much space do I want to reserve before science? How about I go down beyond the pumps? In fact, one beyond. Let's start the science here. Sound good? Sound good. And I'm thinking that the first thing we do is we allocate a space for the actual labs. And here is what they end up looking like. Do I have labs on me? I don't think I actually have labs on me. Actually, let's not get labs. Whoops. That still needs to be set. I'm sorry. So here, you're going to be labs. I'm going to be placing you guys, but not doing anything special. So the idea is that I want to be able to get a lot of different kinds of science in. Actually, hold on. If I do it like that, that allows me to put in there and there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have all my science coming in from the left except for one row, which is going to come in from the right. Like that. This bit in the middle, this is the reproducible unit. And I will need some yellow stuff on my hotbar temporarily. We're going to be doing a little belt weaving. So coming in from the left, we'll have those guys. Okay. Now above this, I'm going to have, again, the same thing. Hold on, can I move all this over a little? No, I can't because, no, that guy isn't maxed. Aha. So there it is. So those guys work. Those guys work. We've got space in there. And I'm going to have these guys. Okay. Now the question is, where do I put them? I think I want to use this bottom set of 6 for moving science around. So once I push something down into the science area, it's done. I want to put these guys down at the base of it. And I want to set it up so that it doesn't conflict with the RoboPort, if I possibly can. It looks like the RoboPorts are going to be a no-go. That's fine. So what I'm going to do for now, during construction, I'll rotate them out of the way. We'll be able to flip between the goalposts, or the goalposts, the power poles. I want to come down here to the appropriate level. Here. Actually, is that the appropriate level? I'm not sure that's the appropriate level. We're leaving a good amount of space for what we're doing. Do I really want my science on the lowest level, or do I want to leave this lowest level for other shenanigans and have the labs up? I'll keep the labs up a little bit so we have got some space for some shenanigans down here. Yeah, I'll put it up in this third area. Why not? Boom. I'm going to disappoint all of these robots. I'm not going to put it at the first step. I'm going to move it up by 2. Just like that. So that's where the science is going to go. We have a big empty space out here for anything else I need to build with an eye towards having it close to the launch area. I'm going to try to minimize the amount of stuff I put in there. But there's science. And let's see. What is this going to look like when I start putting filters on it? This top one here, coming in here, this is going to be red and green science. Okay. This guy's going to come in like that. This guy's going to come in up from here and get turned south and in. There. So red and green's on the top line. The second line is going to have my blue and black science. Military and chemical. Okay. Like that. The third one is the science I haven't really talked about yet, which are these guys, which we won't be doing until later, but I am going to set it up to be able to be recognized and filtered. So yellow and purple, like that. Now, one of these guys needs to be all 4 of those 2 plus yellow and purple. And the other one needs to be military and blue and white. And I need to fit in the other 3 sciences as best I can. So you are going to need to adopt the agricultural science pack. Okay. And these 2 are the other sciences. So we need space, and one of these 3 will be available. There. So we take this, and I'm going to make it snap to grid so I can reprogram all of the inserters. We grab this much, and I'm going to say I need 4, total of 5 rows. So that's how much science I want to be building. This is where my science needs to come in from the right. And in this case, I do want to drop down to leave as much room as possible for the other shenanigans. You're coming back to here. So you already have space science on you. You'll have this science coming down the other lane. Down there, comes up here, hits this filter. I think we're good. So I'm going to call this a recording, When we come back, we'll start on the science array proper. I will see you then.